Imagine a world without humans, ruled entirely by a dragon god, demi-dragons, and other demi-beasts alike. Sounds pretty interesting, right? Let me tell you about this story. So I am trying to hit 200,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If you want to help me get there, consider subscribing. And if you enjoy the video or find yourself coming back on the regular, leave a like. I appreciate it immensely. Kamudo is a new manga that I recently came across that is published on Viz Media, so it's a little bit different to get access to. I very much enjoyed this story. Artistically, it's gorgeous, very, very pretty, very beautiful. There's even instances where some of the character designs remind me a little bit of old school Berserk / Miura, rest in peace. The biggest appeal for Kamudo, though, is its depiction of dragons and how this world has no humans whatsoever. To explain this story, you kind of have to go back to the beginning. God. So a mysterious god created a magical mist. And that mist gave birth to a large gateway or a doorway. This mist is called the breath of God, known as prana. And it flows directly through this gateway, which is called the Kamudo, the gate of God, and gives birth to life. Now, the first gust of wind that spawned through that gate birthed a dragon, and that dragon, by all things considered, twisted the world and its scales scattered across the lands and spiraled into this majestic form to create the flow of ki. The gusts of prana would flow through the gate, then through the dragon, and this would create what is known as the pulse, which is considered life itself. As long as this eternal dragon exists, the pulse of life will continue and life itself will never cease to exist. However, this dragon, for some mysterious reason, is very unwell. They are dying, and they are looking for any sort of sign that can take their world into the new one. This is where our main character comes in, Kamuna, who is born half human, half dragon, the first of his kind. All the other people within the story are demi-beast. They're more animal than human. They stand upright, they're incredibly intelligent. Think of them as being human, but just the animal equivalent. So you have half dragons, half deers, half monkeys, etc. Our main character, Kamuna, is the first human, but they lean more on the human side. But he does have a couple of dragon aspects. His hand and half of his arm is scaled like a dragon, and he has a small tail. But that's where the similarities end. As a child, Kamuna is put through a bit of a weird situation. Not only is he isolated from all of the other children that he's born around because they're more dragon and he is human, but he's ostracized further for being the son or child of a very powerful, prominent political family. Basically, the people that have direct connection to talk to this god dragon. Kamuna narratively is the sign that this god dragon was talking about, something to usher in the new world, but it also sparks conflict. Many different animals and beasts come from far and wide to view Kamuna, to figure out why he is the way that he is. What is a human? Why is he different? What does this mean for the world? How can he live within this environment when he does not have the attributes to allow him to thrive within this environment? It's kind of sad how Kamuna thinks about himself. He feels very alone because he is the only one of his kind. He can't really mix or match or have people understand him. He is incredibly isolated from anyone and everyone because of how unique he truly is. And while he does have a good support system like his mother, who obviously cares for him dearly, he really wants to carve out his own path. He wants to prove his worth. He doesn't want to be held back or compared or compete with the people around him, but he wants to find his own lane. And it's pretty important that he does that. The world that he currently lives in is rather sheltered. This massive tree houses all the dragons that live in this area. But it's also a very communal place where anybody can come along and go towards the markets or come witness some of the events or plays or things. It's a very multicultural hub and open to everybody. Outside of that is a world that Kamuna and even the dragons aren't really meant to approach. These barren wastelands that a lot of the animals tend to avoid because they don't know what's out there. They have no reason to venture out further. They stick to what they know best. But Kamuna gets interested. He sees something out within the distance. Something extraordinary, terrifying, and even horrifying. Very large dragon, 1,000 times bigger than anyone has ever seen. when I was reading this story, I was very curious to see how things would actually unravel, because there's a lot of things to play into. Obviously, the isolation of the main character, their mentality, their emotions, being the only half human in existence technically, being isolated and ostracized because of how they look or the things that they can and can't do, or even just the food that they eat. They're a part of such an ingrained culture, surrounded by so many other cultures that look up to these dragons as gods, basically. They're second hand or the right hand to a much higher powerful being. And then you have Kamudo, who is not any of that. He's targeted for being himself, but he's also targeted because of the connection he has to powerful people, being the son of importance. Early on, it's not incredibly introspective. It doesn't spend a ton of time kind of going through Kamudo's mind, which I think is a little bit of a letdown, but it does do enough to point you in the directions that you do want to learn about and that the story does want to take it. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, right? So you may as well leave the breadcrumbs to those introspective moments, starting off those storylines, those beats, and explore them much further down the line, especially when Kamudo as a person starts to explore outside of himself and outside of this dragon den, but simply experience the world for himself. I do love the depictions of the dragons, however, it's very dragon-centric. Everything rotates around dragons or demi-dragons. All of their designs are absolutely beautiful, and the level of detail towards their culture, their design, their intricacies, how they operate, why they exist or do things the way that they do. It's a very vibrant, lively culture surrounding this dragon aesthetic that I think is really wonderful. And it flows directly back into how the world is created, the breath of God, prana, the gate of God, etc. And visually, when you see those things, it's like, wow, fantastic. It helps as well that when you see other demi-beasts like, wolves or monkeys or deers or, any other creature that you can think of, they all have their own specific quirks and traits that are more associative to that type of animal. Cheetahs are obviously incredibly fast, or wolves are a bit more sneaky and roam around a little bit. Monkeys are incredible climbers and whatnot. So every part of the demi-beast ecology is incredibly well done and directed towards different attributes specific to them. I enjoy that a lot. Probably the biggest question I have is, where does this story go? There's a lot of ideas to play into, a lot of main storylines and side storylines and different offshoots here and there. There is definitely a clear answer, one that sticks out the most, but the story does take its time, at least at the beginning, getting there. It really wants you to go through the motions of understanding Kamudo as a character, how this world operates, and it does lore dump a lot of things. While that can be overwhelming for a lot of people, even I felt it to be overwhelming at times. If you're able to kind of get through that, I think it serves as a good backing, a good solid pill to swallow to give you the context of what's to come. A lot of the information and lore that it does give you, while excessive, is vital, pretty critical, and it does a ton for the world building, just front-loaded in a odd way. Now, I'm not a person that seeks out dragon stories. I know there's a big appreciation and love for them, of course. I enjoy them. I like how they look visually. I like how they're usually used. I like the differences in the design themselves. Dragon, wyverns, culturally, Eastern, Western, whatever it may be. The takes going from just Japanese, Chinese, to kind of more medieval, English, whatever. You can go sea, you can go more fantasy, you can go more mystical. There's so many different variations of dragons. I think Kamudo does a great job at separating itself from everything else. It's not the most unique take you've ever seen on dragons, but it definitely is an interesting one, and one that lures you in and continues to lure you in with the amount of detail that it actually wants to give you, especially these designs. I can't get over the fact that how well crafted and well designed some of these dragons are, to the point where sometimes they don't even look like dragons. Might be a blessing or a curse, depending how you take it, but I enjoy it. If you're someone that likes dragons, or you're interested in different interpretations of dragons, or this story just sounds up your alley to begin with, 100% check it out. It is very well worth your time. But now, if you're someone that's looking for more of a fantasy story, I would still recommend it, but take your time with it. I wouldn't try to binge read through it, but artistically it's going to carry itself for a long time. It's very beautiful and pretty to look at. Some of the characters are a little bit difficult to get behind. Like I said before, a ton of world building and lore information to chew through. But once you kind of get through all of that, it kind of opens itself up pretty quickly to the rest of the world, and there's a bigger mystery and how the main character Kamudo wants to approach the world. learning how to fight and protect themselves, but more importantly, learning about themselves, figuring out what they want to do, what they want to be, what they want to experience, and eventually how that all kind of wraps together to the person that they are. This is a story that's being told before the actual story, so eventually, in due time, it will lead to what is kind of the pitch for the actual story itself, which would be Kamuna as more of an adult or a late teenager dealing with this whole new world and iteration of potential half-human hybrids now fighting each other. Because you do see him with a sword, of course, at the beginning, but that's not something you get off the bat and eventually you'll go towards. I had a fun time with this. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. If it sounds interesting, go check it out. You probably won't regret it.